I think it was something dealing with one of their guys. I don't think it wasn't the call or anything like that. I don't think there's a big deal there. He's voicing frustration on how they're treating him.
TV caught you talking to Freddie, and Freddie said it was something that the Ravens were doing to you. Was it some kind of defense thing, or?
No, we was just talking.
About the offense, I presume?
Football, the refs making calls, and basically they're warning me that I have one more personal foul, whatever it is, and I'd be out the game, which, I thought was pretty stupid.
All right, Rex, so at this point, anything that happens with the Browns, we're going to be talking about it because of what's happened this year. But what is your reaction to seeing Kitchens and Odell Beckham Jr. getting into it a little bit on the sideline, even after you hear that explanation?
Yeah, we really don't know what that was about. Obviously, Odell's frustrated. We saw that, him and Jarvis sitting there on the sideline. It's like, these two guys aren't real happy. And so we totally get it. But, this guy right here, clock management, at least, as bad as it was, it could be worse. All right, you can bring the offense, take a 5-yard penalty, bring the offense back on the field, run a 4th and 9 draw. Like, this is what the Cleveland Browns looks like. There's none of this. There's none of this. There's a bunch of individuals right now. There's no leadership there, and that's why they're out of the playoffs.
I almost don't want to I feel like we're so dying for an Odell explosion because it's the one thing we haven't gotten
right,
from
he's
this
been
team
great
this year. And candidly, that wasn't that. And so I don't want to make this about Odell because I think he's actually handled himself extraordinarily well through what has been a ridiculous season. Dan, I think we should put more emphasis on the clock management at the end of the first half because there are certain things that just cannot be defended. And if you very quickly set the stage for the way they handled the end of the first half, and then I want you to hear the coach's explanation.
Well, the end of the first half, they get the ball back. Baltimore has no timeouts. The number one thing that you don't want to do is give the ball back to the other team. And Cleveland just inexplicably decides to throw 3 straight completions, the incompletions. The one on 3rd down, I don't mind being aggressive on 1st down. Or you want to get a 2-minute drive going, that's fine. And I don't necessarily mind throwing the ball on 2nd down. Once you get to 3rd down and you're going, okay, we got to make sure that we don't stop the clock here. The ball should get run there. They can't stop the clock. You're going to punt the football away with maybe 20 seconds left. That is gross. It is the story of their season. It is the story of their head coach. It is the story of everything that they've managed. It's grossly mismanaged. That the one thing that you could not do as a coach, you did. And you hurt your football team.
Yes, because of course the Ravens got the ball, moved right down the field, scored a touchdown right before the end of the half, and basically put the game out of reach. Here was Freddie Kitchens' explanation for how they handled that.
Could you go through your thinking there at the end of the first half? You got 3rd and 10. They don't have any timeouts. Could have run the clock down, tried to go for it, and they end up scoring.
We could have. We were trying to get the clock started, and a couple of short passes. They got batted down. Could have ran it. Could have done a lot of things, but called a couple of 5-yard routes, and the clock never got started. So, so it's second guessed once that happens.
What?
Listen, Freddie Kitchens is 100% correct. There are a lot of things you could have done in that moment. There's a lot of choices to handle in that moment. Your job, you get paid. Your employment is about taking all those choices and making the right one. I don't need you to tell me all the things that you could do, that you could run the ball, or that you could throw the ball deep, or that you could take a snap and go to a knee. You could have done a lot of things. Your job as head coach is to figure out of all those decisions, which one is right. It's also called life. There's a lot of choices that we can make in life, and our job is to make the right one. Freddie Kitchens didn't.
They made a choice to hire Freddie Kitchens. That might have been maybe a poor choice. I'm not real sure. But when you look at this, everybody knows most 2-minute situations, when a team has no timeouts, you always start with a tailback play, whether it be a run, a check down, whatever it is. All right, they didn't do that. They wanted to throw it down the field. But you're right. On a 3rd down, are you kidding me? Look, you haven't hit anything all day, and you're going to get a 1st down here? No, use the clock. We'll go in at halftime with a little momentum. Instead, you're going in with 0 momentum. The game's over at halftime, and it was because of you. Decisions that coaches make very rarely affected, a game. Maybe 1 or 2 a season where you can go back and look. How many
13-2, that's dope. We got a great group of guys. I'm just I'm happy right now. I'm startled.
How many interceptions did he have for the season? 6. 36-6. Man, what more do you need to say? It's amazing. It's not bad for a running back. We good? That's a drop the mic. Get out of here. Yeah.
Just drop it.
Look, I think a standing ovation all around for the Ravens organization from top to bottom. That's about as good a season, taking everything into totality, as any team has had in a really long time. And make sure everyone understands the reason why. We can't live in a world where we assume everyone knows the history. Laura, what was the book on Lamar Jackson less than 2 calendar years ago?
He wasn't supposed to be a quarterback, Greeny. His mom, Felicia, even had to fight for him to be recruited as a quarterback in college. He then goes to the NFL level. He was picked later than all these other guys. He was still the first-round pick, but 32nd. And here's a guy that has now come out, will be the MVP. We've all solidified that at this point, and has proven it every step of the way by staying true to himself and by throwing the football, which I think has been the key to all of this, too.
You heard John Harbaugh say it, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And let's give credit where it's due. Rex Ryan, you sat in this studio with me in August, and you told me, maybe not this, but that a really special season was coming. I will admit, I thought you were nuts. You were 100% right. What did you see coming?
Like I said, you're right again. I've talked about it often that I've been right on like everything this year. But when I see it, he's such a special talent. And the reason I knew about this kid is because I followed Clemson all the time in the ACC. Mm-hmm. And this guy, I'd never seen anything like it in my life. You know, watching this kind of quarterback, this kind of athlete. And let's face it, it's not just because of his legs, it's because he could throw the football. And Greg Roman's done a phenomenal job with this, you know, putting this offense together. But Greeny, I thought this kid is clearly the MVP. But I would also give the MVP to Eric DaCosta and Ozzie Newsome, because he still lingers out there, when they picked up Marcus Peters. Because what do they want to do? They want to win the Super Bowl. They needed that piece on defense, made a huge difference.
So they've been brilliant. They're 13-2. But we said in the tease there are 2 things for them to be worried about. One of them is the injury to Mark Ingram. It's a strained calf. He doesn't have to play next week. They'll have a bye the following week. So in 3 weeks, hopefully he'll be ready to go because he's an integral piece. The second thing they need to worry about, in my opinion, is that the Kansas City Chiefs are peaking at exactly the right time. A team that all year long, their defense was horrendous. It's gotten a lot better. And Patrick Mahomes, that offense didn't seem to be clicking. He got hurt. He came back. Right now, to me, if you made me pick, I would still take the Chiefs to win the AFC.
And there's not going to be a lot of arguments. There's the thing with the Chiefs. The last 6 weeks, their defense is as good as anyone in the NFL. I want to say that again. In the last 6 weeks, the Chiefs' defense is as good as anybody in the NFL. And then Patrick Mahomes is healthy. Folks, Patrick Mahomes looks back to being Patrick Mahomes. You see the confidence. You see the outside of the pocket plays. Kelsey's uncoverable. Tyreek Hill is healthy. So the one thing that this team needed was a defense to not be bad. Not only has the defense become that, but now they've become a dominant unit. Think about that. You've got the most dominant or most dangerous offense in the NFL, and now you're pairing it with one of the more dangerous defenses in the NFL, and they're built on speed.
I just thought of a question here, and Rex, I want to ask you, because you are the defensive mastermind and genuinely one of the great defensive coaches in the league. Would you rather right now try to stop the Chiefs offense or the Ravens offense?
That's good.
Glad you asked that.
Who would you rather play? You're playing in the AFC Championship game. Which of those 2 offenses would you rather go up against?
Yes. I'd rather go up against Baltimore's, I guess, but I'm going to tell you something. Make no mistake, Baltimore is going to win. They're going to end up beating Kansas City. I get it. Kansas City won earlier in the season, but you talk about peaking early or peaking at the right time. That's what this team's doing. So I believe in the Baltimore Ravens. And look, I'm late to the party on this defense. I never thought they were worth a darn because I've seen it. This kind of defense just fail constantly. The reason they're playing so well is because they get big leads, and then you can step on the gas and be creative and hey, we're going to come after them with no side effects because you're with nothing that because your offense is going to score. They're not going to have that kind of same success against the Baltimore Ravens.
Sorry, I'm getting a call. It's Tom Brady. He says, did you guys see us play on Saturday? Don't leave us out of this conversation.
That to me,
I've been wrong once.
That to me is somehow the scary team left. Like, this is a team that for the most of the year couldn't get anything going. And now, this past weekend, they figured out a fullback, with the Landon Roberts to run the ball. Those receivers were trusted by Tom Brady. They got the run game going. They got play action going. Lacoste made some plays.